ततोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखम् देहवद्भिरवाप्यते ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते. That's it. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev Brahmaraji, I can share the screen. The screen is, shall I share the screen for chapter 12, Brahmaraji? I'm not able to hear. Hello? Brahmaraji, I think on the screen, shall I share the screen? The screen is different now. There is some issue with the, are you all able to hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Go ahead.
But the screen, Brahmaraji has, should I share this? I will just share the screen. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, just share the.
I hope you are able to see my screen, right? Okay, you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah. Dhanyavad, Dr. Renu. Dhanyavad. So we had a beautiful Manana session yesterday and day before yesterday. So I will just quickly browse through. So do you remember which was the last line or paragraph here? The Lord is their deliverer. Mam dhyayantah upasate. I think that was done, right? Yeah, I think this was we had done this, but this is worth repeating. I will just I will quickly browse through, although we have done this paragraph, but I will. They meditate upon me and worship me. Mam dhyayantah upasate. The meditators meditate upon me, the Lord, who is the cause of everything and who is in the form of this entire world. Besides doing karma with Ishwararpana Buddhi, they are meditating upon Saguna Brahma. How? With a commitment in which there is no other. Ananyena Yogena, meaning nothing other than Parmeshwara. Other than the Vishwarupa, there is no other resting place. Alambana, mind. Because of their love for the Swarupa, they are able to do yoga. Their daily prayers are also for effective dhyana. Since they are karma yogis, naturally, Ishvara is their mind. In their mind, there is nothing other than Parmeshwara. The vritti will keep as thoughts do. The Lord will be there in all of it. Even if it is invoked in a particular form, that too is Ishvara. For those who meditate in this form, dedicating all their karmas to me, committed to me alone as the end, there is nothing other than Lord. The Lord is their deliverer. For such people, God says, I become their deliverer. Tesham aham samvarta bhavami. What are they delivered from? The ocean of samsara, which is fraught with death. Mrityu samsara sagarat. This is a compound in which the middle word yukta is missing and is called a madhyama pada lopa samasa. The complete compound is mrityu yukta samsara sagarat. From that ocean of samsara, fraught with death, Lord Krishna says, I am their savior. He is the one who is able to pull them out of this ocean by his grace. They are all devotees. Okay. The Brahmaraji says the voice is breaking. If Sumaji can take over. Sumaji, could you please take? Yeah. So you want to, if voice was breaking from the beginning, you can start from the.
Jai Gurudev. They meditate upon me and worship me. Mam dhyayantaha upasate. The meditators meditate upon me, the Lord, who is the cause of everything and who is in the form of this entire world. Besides doing karma with Ishwararpana Buddhi, they are meditating upon Saguna Brahma. How? With a commitment in which there is no other. Ananyena yogina, meaning nothing other than Parameshwara, other than the Vishwarupa. There is no other resting place, alambana. There is no other resting place, alambana, for the mind. Because of their love for the Swarupa, they are able to do Karma Yoga, their daily prayer, etc. They are also for effective dhyana. Since they are Karma Yogis, naturally, Ishvara is in their mind. In their meditation, there is nothing other than Parameshwara. The vritti will keep on changing as thoughts do, but the Lord will be there in all of them. Even if he is invoked in a particular form, that too is Ishvara. For those who meditate in this form, dedicating all their karmas to me, committed to me, alone as the end, there is nothing other than Lord. The Lord is their deliverer. For such people, the Lord says, I am their deliverer. Tesham aham samudhartha bhavami. Samudhartha bhavami. Samudhartha bhavami.
Samudharta bhavami.
Samudartha bhavami. Tesham aham samudartha bhavami. What are they delivered from? From the ocean of samsara, which is fraught with death. Mrityu samsara sagara. This is a compound in which the middle word yukta is missing and is called a madhyama pada lopa samasa.
Madhyama pada loka samasa. It is a grammar.
Madhyama pada loka samasa.
Madhyama pada lopa
Madhyama pada lopa samasa. The complete compound is mrityuyukta samsara sagarat. For that ocean of samsara fraught with death, Lord Krishna says, I am their savior. He is the one who is able to pull them out of this ocean by his grace. They are devotees, after all, and through their prayerful life, they gain antakarana shuddhi, a visible result, drishtaphala. Besides that, there is punya, the adrishtaphala, which will provide them with every opportunity to be exposed to the Upadesha teaching. They earn their grace, which provides them with everything necessary to know that Bhagavan's Atma is their own Atma. Besides that, there is Punya, the Adrishtaphala. So, along with Antakarana Shuddhi, which is the visible result, there is Punya, which is the Adrishtaphala, which will provide them with every opportunity to be exposed to the Upadesha, the teaching. They earn their grace, which provides them with necessary to know that Bhagavan's Atma is their own Atma. Thus, the equation Tat Tvam Asi becomes clear. Their meditation is upon Ishvara, and all the actions are dedicated to Ishvara, as we saw. For those who are living such a committed life, the Lord is Samudhartha, Samudhartha,
Samudra.
Samudhartha,
Samudra.
Samudhartha, the one who delivers. When Krishna uses aham in the Gita, it is as Ishvara, not as the historical Krishna. Son of Devaki. Whether he existed or not historically does not matter. We need only understand what he teaches here, which is that every form is Ishvara's form. When the Lord says he is the savior, whom does he save and from what? These jivas who are devotees are saved by Ishvara from the ocean of samsara, which is fraught with death. Samsara is like a life of continuous becoming, a time-bound life. Why is it likened to an ocean? Some Shankara says, because it is difficult to cross. An ocean is vast and treacherous. So is samsara. To get out of it, therefore, is not easy. Unless ajnana ignorance is removed, there is no possibility of crossing samsara. Though the elimination of ignorance cannot be accomplished by any attempt, an essential thing in its removal is preparedness, which does require effort. Whether you want to remove ignorance of electronics or calculus, you have to reach a point from where you can understand the subject being taught. For that, you require proper effort and perseverance. There is no difficulty in gaining knowledge other than becoming prepared. That preparedness is given by Bhagavan. How? As a result of his upasana, Ishvara will provide him with the capacity to apply his mind. And for his karma, he will gain antakarana shuddhi. So Ishvara will provide him with the capacity to apply his mind. And for, that is very important, capacity to apply his mind. And for his karma, he will gain antakarana shuddhi. Both are required and each enhances the other. The act of meditation produces a certain tranquility with which one can better appreciate the laws of karma. That appreciation brings about further composure and changes in attitude, which manifest as mature behavior and disposition. A mere technique cannot do this. It can only give you application. I will read this again. The act of meditation produces a certain tranquility with which one can better appreciate the laws of karma. That appreciation brings about further composure and changes in attitude, which manifest as mature behavior and disposition. A mere technique cannot do this. It can only give you application. Even a criminal can be very single-minded. When he shoots someone, his concentration is excellent. That means he has application. Ravana had enormous application, but no karma yoga, the thing that makes one mature. Mere capacity for application or tranquility is not enough. Even someone who is incapable of thinking can be very tranquil. For this knowledge to work, one requires the composure that accompanies maturity. That implies a lot of neutralization of raga dveshas, likes and dislikes. For those who live a life of karma yoga and also meditate upon Ishvara, there is an immediate result. Doing what is to be done, even the unpleasant, they enjoy freedom from conflict. Before doing what is unpleasant, there will be conflict because raga dvesha can be contrary to what is to be done. Being karma yogis, they dismiss raga dvesha and follow dharma as Ishvara Swarupa. Thereby, they are free from further conflict. But when you act according to raga dvesha, there is conflict before, after, and during the action. There is drishtaphala for both conformity and non-conformity with dharma. The drishtaphala of meditation is a certain composure and capacity to apply the mind. Because it is a prayer, which is a karma, there is also an adrishtaphala, which is what we call Ishvara's grace. That is what brings about situations conducive for gaining this knowledge. How long will it take? Krishna says, Na chikrat. Na chikrat.
Nachirat.
Na chirad.
Nachirat.
Na chirad. Not after a long time. It all depends on the person, upon the person. There is no fixed timetable for this because you are already liberated. If something is to be produced, a timetable can be given. If you are already free, it is a question of maturing and knowing. The word na chirat, though it is not specific, says that it will not take long. When a person has karma, yoga, and upasana, what will stop him from knowing? Who are they again? Those whose minds are absorbed in me, Parameshwara. These are people who are committed only to Parameshwara. Their mind gets absorbed in Parameshwara, not only in meditation, but also in daily activities. Thus, for them, I become the rescuer. To be rescued means to be free, mukta. Does it mean there is another way of becoming free? So is there another way of becoming free? Throughout the Gita, it has been said that freedom is by knowledge, jnana moksha. Here it seems that by karma yoga and upasana there is moksha. That would mean there are two different paths, knowledge, jnanat moksha, and karma, karmana moksha. Because upasana is also a karma, a mental karma. Mananasam,
Manasam, Manasam
manasam
karma.
karma. Manasam karma.
Kshamyatam, Sumaji, I
Hmm?
think we have not read this yesterday, right?
No,
Uh, did we skip? Just give me 2 seconds because I believe we have missed something. Yesterday, the last thing was the fifth shloka, right?
seventh. We did 5, 6, 7.
We already had done, right? So I'm not mistaken, right?
No. We did read the 7th, but we didn't complete the reading of the meaning.
So I think we started with one page later. So we missed this one page. I'm really sorry because I started from the second page. The seventh, I asked, that's why that you read the sixth one, right?
We read the 7th shloka also yesterday, according to what I remember, and we were reading the explanation, and we were coming to one page which I think Savita
So
ji
this
said
all
it
you
was
had read, right? Because you were reading. So
Shloka 6 and 7 are together. So the
yeah.
explanation is coming together.
So did we read the explanation, Dr. Savita? Because that's what I
yes.
asked before beginning.
Yeah.
We read.
We read, and we ended here like they meditate upon me and worship me. This was the last paragraph we read. The Lord is their deliverer was to be read today. We had to start from here, but you started before I think two paragraphs.
Okay. So we have not missed anything, right? Okay.
No.
Dhanyavad. Okay.
So I'll read from this. Is there another way to meditate to get free again from there?
Here it is. I'm really sorry because I was under the impression that we skipped the one page.
No, we have not missed anything. Okay, I'll read from here. Is there another way of becoming free? Can you lower it a little bit?
Yeah. Is it okay now? Yeah. Thank you.
Throughout Gita, it has been said that freedom is by knowledge, jnanat moksha. Here it seems that karma yoga and upasana, there is moksha. Here it seems that by karma yoga and upasana, there is moksha. That would mean there are two different paths, knowledge, jnanat moksha, and karma, karmana moksha, because upasana is also a karma, a mental karma, manasam karma. This is where people commit mistakes, whether it is mental, oral, or physical. Action is action, and any karma implies an agent, karta. This karta cannot be negated without jnana. And without the negation of the karma, there is no freedom. It is the sense of agency that is the cause for all problems. So I'll read this again. Whether it is mental, oral, or physical, action is action, and any karma implies there is an agent, a karta. This karta cannot be negated without jnana. And without the negation of the karma, there is no freedom. It is the sense of agency that is the cause of all problems. So this is where we get caught, that we are the doer. So it is the sense of agency which is the cause of all problems. Who has Ishwararpana Buddhi? It is the Karta. When they say surrender to God, who is to surrender? And what can you surrender when everything belongs to Him? You can only give what you consider to be yours. Even if you appreciate that what you have has been given by Bhagavan. Who says this? As this level of karma, the maximum you can give up is a sense of mine, mamata. But ahankara, the I notion, will remain. How will the conclusion, I am a samsari, go unless the ahankara goes? Ahankara is one thing you cannot surrender because it is the surrenderer. When someone says, surrender your ego, who is addressed? It is Sat Chit Ananda Atma or Ahankara. Sat Chit Ananda Atma has no ego, nor can it be addressed because it is not an object. Ahankara is the ego. How can it surrender itself? That is why it does not work. People have been trying to surrender for ages. Can you lift this page? Where is it? People have been. That is why it does not work. People have been trying to surrender for ages. The ahankara cannot surrender. You can do anything, but as long as there is ignorance and you look upon Ishvara as someone separate from you, there is no surrender. It is fine to have devotion. Lord Krishna himself says, the karma yogis who are worshipping him are yoga vittatmaha. No doubt they are mature, but still ahankara remains. Therefore, moksha is possible only by knowledge. Jnaninat eva. Jnanat eva. Not by karma or anything else. You are already non-separate from Ishvara, and recognition of that fact is freedom, moksha. If that is not moksha, there is no moksha, because if you are not limitless right now, there is no possibility of becoming limitless. There is a Tamil proverb that says that if your thumb develops a whitlow, it will not swell to the size of a pumpkin. It can swell to the size of a lemon, perhaps. Similarly, let the ahankara amass any amount of grace or experience, any kind of beatitude. It is going to be only the ahankara's beatitude, not ananda, limitlessness. If I am bound by nature, isolated from everything, I am bound forever. However, isolation is really not possible. If you think about it, so should I read this again, Bela? If any of you want me to read this again, please either put it in the chat or say it. You can unmute and speak. Okay. So you need to raise the page. So if I am bound by nature, anything that is physical belongs to the physical world, and anything subtle to the subtle world. How can you extract one physical body from the physical world while remaining in the physical world and say that it is separate from the physical world? It is something like a branch of a tree saying it is independent of the tree. No physical object can claim independence from the physical world. What is physical belongs to the physical world. Isolation is not possible at any level. All you have to do is understand that there is only one thing, and you are that one thing. It is already accomplished. To be free, you have only to shed ignorance and know jnanat eva moksha. What is the place of the Lord in gaining moksha? When the Lord says that He is their liberator, Desham aham samudharta, He means that He gives the knowledge that liberates. Here again, we must understand what this means. There are some people who want to be taught directly by Bhagavan, not by any mortal. This is a problem in understanding the nature of the teaching and the teacher. Ishvara's grace is nothing but providing opportunities for teaching. Once you have all the proper attitudes, you require only an opportunity to be told that you are Brahman. When you are no longer in the hands of Ragadvesha, you have Antakarna Shuddhi, the result of Karma Yoga. And as a result of Upasana, you have the capacity to apply yourself. Then all you require is teaching. The teaching also will be given by Bhagavan. Can you please raise the page? The teaching will also be given by Bhagavan through Shruti. Once you are ready, you will have your teacher that automatically comes next. It has to work that way. Then, when these qualities are there, what is taught becomes real. What was previously a vague idea or a possibility, or even some insight, gains increasing clarity as one lives a life of karma yoga and upasana while pursuing knowledge. Thereby, Bhagavan says, I am their liberator from the ocean of samsara that is fraught with death. Mrityu samsara sagarat tesham aham samudharta bhavami. Through knowledge, jnana pradhanena. Through knowledge, jnana pradhanena. This is not a savior that saves you from the original sin and makes you and takes you to heaven and keeps you there. Without jnana, there cannot be any moksha. Tesham aham samudharta. Misconception about this. Does the Lord give moksha directly? Moksha given is nitya. One commentator rightly makes the point here that Ishvara does not give liberation. Moksha cannot be handed out because it is not an object. However, it is always established. Some argue that God can give anything because he is almighty. But even Almighty God cannot give you a head over your shoulders. If he is sympathetic, he will take time to make you realize that you have a head over your shoulders, but he cannot give what is already there. Similarly, moksha is already attained. If it is something that can be given, it is anitya. Wow. It was not with you before, and now you have it. If that is so, you will have to protect it, because anything that is gained in time will be lost in time. If you are interested in temporary moksha, well, you have that every day when you go to sleep. Is moksha union with the Lord by his grace? Further, moksha is not a union of the jiva with Ishvara as a result of Ishvara's grace. Anything that gets united tends to fall apart. That is the law. Oh, okay. This concept of union, sayujya, is baseless. There can be no unity between jiva and Ishvara because it is already accomplished. If it is unaccomplished, no power in creation can keep them together. When they are already one, you cannot say there is union with Ishvara due to his grace. Ishvara anugrahat sayujyam. Ishvara anugrahat sayujyam. What you require for that union is jnana. Wow. Thus, pratyagatma, pratyagatma. Thus, pratyagatma join with Paramatma. If it is maintained that the Atma of the Jiva is Pratyagatma and of Ishvara Paramatma, that is not so either. The I of the Jiva is Paramatma. Wow. That is why you cannot surrender, because the I is Paramatma. Wow. The notion of being bound is centered on this one I. It does not belong to Anatma, because that is inert. Jadatvat. The body does not tell you, I am a samsari. Please take me to a Swami. It does not know anything. Deha na janati. Deho na janati. Deho na janati. Neither is Atma a samsari. It has no birth or death. Na jayate mrityate va kadachit. A samsari is something. Okay, can I continue? Neither is Atma a samsari. It has no birth or death. Na jayate mrityate va kadachit. A samsari is something in between, a product of Atma Anatma Aviveka. If you say that by Ishvara's grace you gain knowledge, that is perfect. We do not discount Ishvara's grace, but we must be very clear about what that grace can do. True knowledge alone is freedom. A combination of karma yoga and meditation can win Ishvara's grace to create the condition for jnana, which is moksha. The antakarana nashya nash, naishchalya, antakarana naishchalya gained by the antakarana naishchalya gained by meditation and the antakarana shuddhi gained by karma yoga make one qualified for jnana. A vague jnana becomes very clear. Ishvara cannot give moksha directly because Ishvara is the swarupa of the person. How can one give jnana that he need not assume a Ishvara cannot give moksha directly because Ishvara is the swarupa of the person. He can only give jnana and he need not assume a special form to do that. Any teacher who knows this is as good as Ishvara. What Ishvara can give is an opportunity for knowing. It is the adrishta karma phala of your prayers that gives you a situation free from obstructions and thereby you gain jnana. It is the adrishta karma phala of your prayers. So Ishvara can give you an opportunity for knowing, and that is the adrishta karma phala, your prayers. That gives you a situation free from obstructions, and thereby you gain jnana. By living a life of karma yoga, what is an expression of bhakti, one gathers a lot of punya, which brings the anugraha, grace of Ishvara. Is moksha removal of dukkhas by Lord's grace? Accepting that moksha is not created but is already accomplished, perhaps we can say that grace of Ishvara destroys dukkha. Moksha, after all, is freedom from the undesirable, and any form of pain is undesirable. This is also invalid. If you are inherently imperfect, Ishvara has to rid you of that imperfection and give you some beatitude. Your suffering is removed because of Ishvara's grace, but Atma is already Ananda Swarupa. Thus, the destruction of sorrow takes place in Anatma or in Atma. If the nature of Atma is dukkha, how are you going to destroy that without destroying Atma? If dukkha is not the swarupa of Atma, there is no sorrow there to destroy. Atma is Ananda. You cannot say that because of its association with the mind, etc., Atma becomes dukkhi. If it is asanga, how can it ever be attached to anything, much less gather anything to itself? So, to say that the grace of Ishvara destroys dukkha is also without foundation. Ishvara Anugraha is meant for jnana. Wow. That is what is established here. There are situations that can produce a particular vritti, because of which there can be sukha. But dukkha is purely born out aviveka. Provisionally, we can accept it as a property of the mind, manodharma, but it does not belong to Atma. Does the Lord give some kind of beatitude? Another concept is that Jiva knows only a small amount of intermittent sukha, but due to grace of Ishvara, he gathers infinite bliss, Brahmananda. Brahmananda is not handed out by Ishvara. It is gained already because the Swarupa of Atma is Brahman. Moreover, if it is something that you are given, you will also lose it. Accepting that Brahmananda is myself, perhaps because of the grace of Ishvara, which I gathered through my prayers, I am able to stay with myself. This is also nonsense. What does anything ever get away from its Swarupa? What anugraha is necessary for ice to be cold or fire to be hot? Or what kind of effort is required to make the fire hot? Swarupa being what it is, it always remains without requiring anybody's grace, including Ishvara's. The idea that Ishvara's grace is necessary to abide in oneself is pure imagination due to not understanding what Shastra says. Even before knowledge, you are Brahmananda. That is why Shruti does not say you will become Brahman. It says you are Brahman. Very nice. So much of clarity. Misconceptions getting cleared. Moksha is through knowledge alone. Shastra addresses the one who does not know he is Brahman. So Shastra addresses the one who does not know he is Brahman. When the teacher says, you are Brahman, does he see the person as Brahman or not Brahman? Abrahma. If he is Abrahma, how can he tell him he is Brahman? Then it becomes Brahma, delusion, not Prama knowledge. Delusion, not Prama knowledge. Only if Atma is Brahman can he say, you are Brahman. That is Jnana. And therefore, grace, Anugraha, is only in gaining Jnana, not Moksha. So Jnana itself is Moksha. This is my thinking now. Even before knowledge, he was Brahman, which was why it could be said, you are Brahman. Then again, what is the Swarupa? Then again, what is the Swarupa cannot be lost. The truth of Atma happens to be Brahman. It is always Brahman. When we say he remains in his Swarupa, there is no one going somewhere and remaining there. Atma is Brahman, nor was Atma originally Ananda, then changed into something else, and now you has to get back to itself. Atma is avikriya. It does not undergo any change. Atma is nitya ananda. How can it be eternal and be something else that you have to acquire. If one understands Atma as something that has to be acquired, there is a problem in understanding the nature of Atma and of moksha. Ishvara's grace is required. Ishvara's grace is manifest even when you are seeking to know the identity between Jiva and Ishvara. To merely accept the possibility of non-duality requires Ishvara's grace. Ishvaranugrahat eva pumsam advaita vasana. Even to discern that non-duality is the solution to the problem of samsara, and to get the right person to help you out requires grace, because this ocean of samsara is vast. The grace of Ishvara can provide a situation necessary for jnana. I repeat this sentence. The grace of Ishvara can provide a situation necessary for jnana. It cannot be a cause for moksha, because moksha is not created. The cause of samsara is ignorance of reality, like the cause of the serpent is the ignorance of the rope. By knowing the rope, the perception of the serpent and all the attendant fear goes. Similarly, by knowing the truth of Atma, Anatma Buddhi and Samsaritva, based upon that, goes. Those whose discrimination is robbed away superimpose Atma upon Anatma and Anatma upon Atma. Once some Viveka arises, they begin to lead a life of Karma Yoga. This is not an ordinary thing and is achieved only because of their bhakti. As the Karma Phaladata, Ishvara rewards them for this. By his grace, they get the right association, Sangha, and the teaching necessary to enhance their Viveka. With that, Atma, Anatma, Viveka, the superimposition is removed, and thereby the Jiva gains knowledge of his Swarupa. In this way, it looks as though Bhagavan gives them moksha. In fact, they earn all the conditions for moksha by invoking Ishvara's grace. There is no ultimate rescuer. You take responsibility for your life and the results will follow. Seeking Ishvara's grace is part of taking charge of your life. If you are not well, you go to the doctor. And if you are not able to go to a doctor, you can get somebody to take you. That is intelligent living. Ishvaranugraha does not come in some particular form. It is the result of your own efforts. That is what Bhagavan means when he says, I am their rescuer. Tesham aham samuddhartha. Through giving knowledge, this is an important thing to understand. To be released from the ocean of samsara fraught with death, what do we have to do? Can you read that shloka? Mayeva man atyasav I can't read Hindi.
I will chant.
Yeah.
Mayyeva mana adhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivasishyasi mayyeva ata urdhvam na samshayaha.
My, in me, eva, alone, mana, the mind, advat,
Adhyatsva.
adhyatsva,
Adhyasva.
adhyastva. May you place my into me, buddhim, the intellect, niveshasya. May you enter, niveshasya, may you enter, atha, urdhvam, thereafter, mai eva, in me alone, nivasishyasi, you will abide. Na samshayaha, there is no doubt. In me alone, may you place the mind. Into me, may you make the intellect enter. Thereafter, there is no doubt that you will abide in me alone. Commit your buddhi and mind to me. Mai eva, in me alone. This me, Shankara says, is Ishvara as the cosmic form, Vishwarupa. May you commit your mind in me. Mai eva mana advastva. Advastva. Both mana and buddhi mean antakarna. So, when they are used together as they are here, each has a restricted meaning. Though both are antakarna vrittis, there is a difference based on the process of thinking involved. Manaha is fluctuating between certainty and uncertainty. Sankalpa vikalpa atmakam. Buddhi is the fluctuation that leads to a well ascertained conclusion. Nishchayatmika. Both must be in me. So your wavering mind or vrittis and your decision making intelligence, both must be in me, Bhagavan says. Why should he maintain such each separately? When the mind is placed in Ishvara, is the buddhi also not is also not necessarily placed there? That may not be so at all. One may not have the commitment that arises from a well assimilated understanding of what one wants. Purushartha Nishchayaha. What is Ishvara? Why am I doing this? What is the phala that I am seeking? The ascertainment of all this is involved in the Nishchayatmika Buddhi. Then, when you place your mind in Ishvara, you will stay there. Otherwise, there is a vagueness about the very pursuit and the nature of Ishvara. Other interests are equally compelling, and naturally the mind will stray. But if you have determined what you really want, your pursuit is directed and meaningful. That is why the value tattva, jnanartha darshana, is pointed out in the next chapter. Constant study of Vedanta Shastra, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatva is also a value mentioned there, but that alone is not enough. As a value, it can be very vague, and therefore he says the study should be done keeping in view that the purpose is knowing the truth of oneself. Tattva Jnanartha Darshana. This is Purushartha Nishchayaha. Nishchaya. Nishchaya. Purushartha Nishchaya. What I am really seeking in life is moksha, which is the result of Tattva Jnana, knowledge of the truth. These two things have to be connected. It must be clear that what you want is freedom. And if you only understand that you want to be free, that alone is not adequate. In the search for freedom from pain, people resort to all kinds of things. What they do has nothing to do with what they really want, because the nature of moksha and the means for it is not very clear. Therefore, Bhagavan says, Tattva Jnanartha Darshana. For this, it must be clear that moksha is the nature of Atma. Oh, it must be clear that the moksha is nature of Atma, which is not separate from Ishvara Swarupa, the very Ishvara that appears in the form of this world. It cannot be a vague notion of a God who is located somewhere administering reward and punishment. This kind of Ishvara is replaced by Ishvara as Saguna Brahma. Therefore, may you commit both your mind and buddhi to Ishvara. This is one thing. Or we can say, having chosen me, let your mind dwell upon me and your buddhi enter into me. Making the buddhi enter into Ishvara is done only through enquiry, vichara. And the enquiry must be proper. If you keep on asking, who am I? What answer will you get? Only what you already know about the person who is asking. The more you ask, the more apparent is your confusion. Atma is not going to reveal itself because it is already evident in the questioner. It is not for want of questioning that the essential nature of Atma is not revealed. The most that can happen through this kind of inquiry is absorption, laya of ahankara, as in deep sleep or in moment of joy. That is purely a condition, not knowledge. You emerge from it knowing nothing more about yourself. The maximum you can get when you ask the question, who am I, is laya. How can there be jnana? Ooh. How can there be jnana? If somebody coughs, the ahankara returns and the samadhi ends because the ahankara continues to exist in this subtle form. If, however, there is total absence of identity with the ahankara, because you know differently, there can be, differently, there cannot be any coming back. In spite of the presence of the ahankara, there is no real ahankara because the self, Atma, is free from ahankara, though ahankara is not free from the self. Then no problem is posed by the ahankara. That is jnana. How do you get it?
Can you repeat this paragraph, Suma?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go one step ahead. So having chosen me, let your mind dwell upon me and your buddhi enter into me. Making the buddhi enter into Ishvara is done only through enquiry, vichara. And the enquiry must be proper. If you keep on asking, who am I? What answer will you get? Only what you already know about the person who is asking. The more you ask, the more apparent is your confusion. Atma is not going to reveal itself because it is already evident in the questionnaire. It is not for want of questioning that the essential nature of Atma is not revealed. The most that can happen through this kind of inquiry is an absorption, laya of ahankara, as in deep sleep or or a moment of joy. That is purely a condition, not knowledge. You emerge from it knowing nothing more about yourself. The maximum you can get when you ask the question, who am I, is laya. How can there be jnana? If somebody coughs, the hankara returns and the samadhi ends, because the ahankara continues to exist in a subtle form. If, however, there is total absence of identity with the ahankara because you know differently, there cannot be any coming back. In spite of the presence of the ahankara, there is no real ahankara because the self, Atma, is free from ahankara, though ahankara is not free from the self. Then no problem is posed by ahankara. That is jnana. How do you get it? Atma cannot be any more evident that it is than it is now, and it is not opposed to ignorance of yourself either. It is not opposed to ignorance of yourself either. Atma will not protest, as light is not opposed to what you read. Similarly, Atma Chaitanya is not opposed to what you think. If you think I am a monkey, it will illumine that thought as well as any other. If ignorance is there, consciousness is there. If ignorance is not there, consciousness will still be there. Only a vritti that occurs in the buddhi, revealing the nature of Atma, is opposed to self-ignorance. Only a vritti that occurs in the buddhi, revealing the nature of Atma, is opposed to self-ignorance. I didn't get this sentence. If ignorance is there, consciousness is there. If ignorance is not there, consciousness is still there. Only a vritti that occurs in the buddhi, revealing the nature of Atma, is opposed to self-ignorance. Atma Chaitanya. I didn't get that sentence. Atma Chaitanya, consciousness, which is the nature of Atma, is not opposed to ignorance. Okay. Therefore, simply asking, who am I, will not work here. You need an appropriate means of knowledge, a pramana. Here, the problem is a non-recognized. Here, the problem is non-recognized and therefore mistaken Atma. To correct the mistake, you require jnana of Atma, and to gain the jnana of Atma, you require a pramana. Perception and inference can reveal only anatma, not Atma, as we have seen. Therefore, You seek the answer to the question, who am I? Not within yourself, but in the Shastra, which is the Pramana. When you study Shastra, you commit yourself to Parameshwara. Mai buddhim niveshasya means may you inquire into Parameshwara. This is nothing but Vedanta Vichara, which reduces to an inquiry into the sentences like Tat Tvam Asi. So we have to inquire into this Vedanta Vakya Tat Tvam Asi. Okay, so I am that. So we inquire into this Tattvam Asi. The idea is to set your mind upon Saguna Brahma and live a life of Karma Yoga and commit your buddhi to Vichara of Ishvara. Then there is nothing that can stop you from knowing me. Thereafter, you shall live or abide in me alone. Ataha mai eva nivashishyasi. Does the jiva, the devotee, live in Ishvara like an amoeba in the stomach? If that is so, he will still be separate. Therefore, Shankara says, you shall enter into me in the form of myself. There is no longer an Ishvara's Atma and Jiva's Atma. Only one limitless self as the Atma resolves its notion about itself. Only one limitless self as the Jiva resolves its notion about itself. That is entry into Ishvara. That is the result of meditation supported by inquiry and a life of Karma Yoga. Thereafter, there is no doubt. Ataha urdhvam na samshayaha. That you will enter into me. Thereafter can be after this knowledge or after death. There will no longer be any doubt because there is no jiva, only Ishvara. Even after death, one is not born again. Na punaravartate. We can put it in another way. While living, if you are with me, then who dies? Unless Ishvara dies, you cannot die because you are Ishvara. Ishvara is Nitya. So there is no possibility of death for you. Once the subject matter has been taught, it is very clear what you should do. So clear that there is no reason for doubt. Still, it is necessary to say na samshaya because Arjuna asked the question here. That means he has doubts. Therefore, Bhagavan says, if you live like this, you shall enter into me. There is no doubt about that. Arjuna wanted to know who are better in the sense of being nearer to moksha. Those who pursue Nirguna Brahma or those who follow a life of Karma Yoga with meditation upon Saguna Brahma. Krishna answered that these karma yogis meditating upon Parameshwara as the Vishwarupa are nearer to the Lord. They are yoga vittatmas. How did he did not want to talk about those who pursue Nirguna Brahma because they are not available for comparison. They are jnanis, for they have all the requisite qualifications which are gathered only by Karma Yoga. Addressing the Karma Yogis, he said, "Let your mind be set upon me. Let the buddhi have a commitment backed by understanding, nishchayaha, about me. In this way, if you contemplate upon Parameshwara, you will have the right antakarna, and thereby you will remain one with me, meaning you will discover the oneness that exists between you and Ishvara. A devotee is a karma yogi for the sake of the antakarna shuddhi required to gain knowledge. He wants to quicken the process of meditating upon Ishvara, but he is not able to do so. Then the Lord said, you can get your mind into the object of meditation if you follow the steps below. I think we should stop here, no, for Manana. Quite a heavy
Yeah, I think we need
verse.
to repeat this again, but we'll stop now for Manana. Right? Very beautiful.
Hmm. So what I gathered is there is no moksha because you're already liberated. It is only jnana can bring you that moksha that you're seeking, not by, it's not by the grace that you're going to get liberated. Grace will give you opportunities to get this jnana. We all have.
Also, the fact that you go on asking, who am I? Who am I? You will just say, Aham Brahmasmi. That will only lead you to a state of laya. It's like the nirvikalpa samadhi where it is only a condition, where it's only an experience. But when someone coughs, like what Swamiji mentioned, there is some disturbance in the environment, you're out of it and your ahankara comes back. Again. So that paragraph that differentiates between what jnana is compared to what laya is. That is a very important para. I think we need to repeat that one more time so that to understand and have clarity as to what is jnana. Jnana is something which takes you where your identity with the ahankara itself dissolves. So then there is only the self. There is no Dvaita there. There is only Advaita. I think that state you will not just get by inquiry. It has to be inquiry backed by Shastra. That is what Swamiji mentioned, I suppose. That is where the pramana is so important. And moksha is Ishvara. And it is can't be more evident than what it is. So
So first is Antakarna Shuddhi, then Anta Nishchalaya. These two are essential. Then the grace of the Lord gives us those opportunities for us to know and that wisdom is what is liberation. And I think that is, I don't know, once you come to that level or that stage, it will be something totally different. We won't be able to relate it to the present condition of the mind complex. It is something totally else, I think, though we need the mind and the vritti to know it as well. This much is there in my head. A long way to go, that's what I think. But then this commitment is essential. We cannot do dilly-dally. We have to make that commitment that I want to know moksha, or I want moksha, that nishchaya buddhi, nishchaya buddhi, or whatever, that buddhi you should have, that commitment. And for which you should have an environment that is obstacle free, and that comes through grace, which comes through your devotional service as a karma yogi. And through karma yoga, you slowly get this antakarna shuddhi. So your mind matures, and that calmness comes through meditation. And these two together is preparing yourself for moksha, for the jnana of moksha. That's it from me. Anyone else wants to add?
I wanted to say here that I think we are already doing, like we are sharing knowledge since the last 2 years. We are meditating also. And like Nanaji said, meditating on Kitappa is the best. So we are already doing meditations, whether it's guided or non-guided. We are doing our Sahaj, etc. So we are also walking on the right path. Somehow, somewhere that not realization of moksha or not being able to realize Atma set me thinking. And a few days back, I shared in the group that I was contemplating as to we went through Tattva Bodh, we went through Atma Bodh, and yet, in spite of the knowledge, we have progressed, but we have not realized that we are the Atma. That stage has still not come. And that made me go through more and more of knowledge as to what is it exactly. What is this moksha that they're talking about? Where do we want to be? What is this final realization or being removed from all bondages, being liberated, as we say in moksha? So I went through a lot, and then I came through the 14 lokas, and I read about that as to what are these. They are the way one portion which I understood was that they were realms of consciousness. They were not geographical locations. or places to be in a higher realm or a lower realm of consciousness. It was not geographically higher or lower. So Swarglok need not mean that it is a higher realm that you have to reach. It is a realm of consciousness. So I went through that, I made some notes and all that. And I said, I'll ask you and I'll send the notes to you. If you find it pertinent, you may share it in the group. As to ultimately what is Vaikuntha is not part of the lokas, it is where Vishnu resides. But Brahma Loka, which is said to be right at the top, the highest realm, that is where Brahma resides with Saraswati. And Saraswati again is knowledge. So all this little insights that I gained on the lokas, I thought it might help our group. So I'll send it to you. If you find it pertinent, you can put it down. You can share it in the group or whatever. You can ask me to share. I found that there was a lot of restlessness in this group also. It's my thought process entirely that we want to reach or we want to be promoted to a higher realm, or I was just sharing it is not wearing a black gown and a black hat and being given a medal of promotion that you have now been certified BSc, MSc honors and now you go and do PhD. I mean, it's not that kind of progress that we're talking. It's the realm of awareness, the realm of consciousness. And it is all right to be into a higher realm. You may not reach Vaikuntha immediately, but even the other realms that I saw were not, it's like the realm above Bhuvar and then after that is Saptarishis, where the Saptarishis reside. Now in a Tapalok, also the rishis reside, but they are only interested in doing penance. And they live for 432 years, which is one day of Brahmas. And then they do penance for 432 years, and then because of their karmas, they may move to a higher or lower level. Again, realm, again, so-called higher or lower realm. So if like we as karma yogis are performing our duties to uplift society, bring a smile on everybody's face and all that, we are on the right path. How are we not there in Tapaloka? Already something like that. We have heightened levels of consciousness where we are already doing what those people are doing by way of our sadhana. The Saptarishis are doing administrating the knowledge and all that, and seeing how the our Brahman moves. They are helping and guiding in that particular fashion, Saptarishis with their knowledge. So we are also doing something similar, bringing people, a smile on people's face. So at different times, we are also, I mean, we are not badly off like is being portrayed. Even on Bhulok that we are there on earth, we are okay where we are. We are walking on the right path of knowledge. We are meditating and we are doing our karma. And today also, if you see what Krishna replied was that those who are doing yoga, doing their karmas properly and meditating on Saguna Brahma are closer to me. So we should take solace from that point that we are also doing the same thing. Maybe we have not reached the level of Nirguna Brahma, but we are at the level of Saguna Brahma, and that is closer to Krishna.
Totally agree with you,
Very
Parsipriya.
good. Yeah.
Totally agree with you. And these are not somewhere locations, but all these lokas and all, we ourselves also in our own consciousness, we experience all these levels also. Only thing is we are not very much aware of it. We cannot put it in black and white. See, in the presence of Gurudev also at different times we feel very different state. Sometimes we are so much into the ananda, sometimes we suddenly something clicks up from within. So many different aspects. Where is somewhere Vaikuntha? It is there itself whenever we are in Guruji's presence. Very much we feel the Vaikuntha, but we are so much lost into that aghastness, and then we cannot pinpoint it ki, oh, this is the Vaikuntha. But all these lokas and all, they are not somewhere else there. They are all within our consciousness. And we are experiencing it maybe for fraction of seconds here, there. in Sahaj, in Guruji's presence, while teaching, while doing the seva, while sitting for the knowledge sessions, udar, all different lokas, somewhere it is opening up petal by petal. So no need to miss, and that is why see, already we were doing Saguna Upasana for so long. By doing seva, taking courses, attending so many different sadhana seva satsang opportunities, we were doing Saguna Upasana. That is why we have come here on this platform. Guruji is only us, miss that ultimate universal energy is only guiding us towards now, little by little, towards the Nirguna Brahma understanding. So that is why we came to this Tattva Bodha and Atma Bodha. No, otherwise we wouldn't have stuck for so long, 2 years. So we are some unknown force is definitely guiding us towards more and more expansion. So have that trust and go move ahead very beautifully.
Yeah,
We are doing.
I just wanted to say that we should be happy in the place where we are rather than be restless or feverish. Why was I born into this family? Everybody cannot be born into Dr. Brahmara's family, where the parents have given such good sanskars and so much of knowledge is flowing, and they may be all vegetarians and all those kind of things. It was our past life karmas which got us into this. And how can we make our house into a Vaikunt itself? Why look for Vaikunt somewhere in some other realm or plane? We are responsible for making a Vaikunt in our own house, is what I am saying. By being happy, by spreading happiness in our family, by not sitting in judgment, okay, some are non vegetarians, or some are eating oily food, or not eating sattvic food, or they are enjoying a movie sometimes, or they are enjoying music or a serial sometimes. Be in acceptance for of imperfection just the way it is. Like we say in the part one course, in the kitchen, we have a place for a garbage bin. We make place for imperfection in our lives too, in our houses too, with our house members who may not have achieved the degree. We should be satisfied with where they are right now. Be happy with the way just people are. Why have that superior inferiority position or sit in judgment? Hey, oh, where am I born? Where is Dr. Brahmara born? I would also like to be born in a family like that in my next birth, probably. And I would also like to chant like Dr. Brahmara chants so well, or Nanaji chants. I mean, that goes on for the whole day when he chants some slokas that is playing like that tambura, that constant repetition of the chanting is going on in our minds throughout the day. That impact is there on us. Even sometimes Dr. Brahmara, when she chants, that is so. But we are not there, that's okay. I don't mind not being there. I am happy the way with what work I am doing. I will strive for that. I'll work towards a goal. But very happily, the destination should not be giving me happiness. Walking on the journey, the path itself, I am happy right now. And I feel that we all should be happy where we are. Not that we stop looking, but without feverishness, without restlessness, without being unhappy, going looking for a realm above or below as Jai Gutesh.
Very, very beautiful, Persiji. Thank you so
So let's close our eyes. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti.
Shanti. Shanti. Jai Gurudev.